Oh, there it is. Hello, good morning. My name is Steph Hermanson, and I recently got a title change, so I'm not the Chief Digital Operations Advisor anymore. I'm the Chief Revenue Officer at Atomic Revenue. So very excited about that change, but it made it a whole nightmare for the MARsum team when I asked them to change everything. So today we're going to talk about the ROI of marketing and what it actually is. But first, I'm Steph. I'm the Chief Revenue Officer at Atomic Revenue, co-owner, investor in startups and technology, a mom, a wife, and an absolute super nerd when it comes to things like process and data and marketing. I describe myself as a left-brained marketer. I am not the creative side. I'm the one who answers the how do we do that. That sounds great, but how do we get it to do that? How do we make those things happen? And we have to do that with dollars. We need revenue to make those things happen. So whatever we spend, we need a revenue ROI to come out of it. So what's ROI in marketing? If we are creative, we can interpret that in a lot of different ways. We can talk about the ROI of marketing as leads, revenue, or impressions, or sales, or profits, or being top of mind, or getting a referral. All wonderful outcomes, all things that we want. But we cannot leave ROI up to interpretation. It is a number. ROI is return on investment. Investment is a financial term. So we're looking for the cost and spend versus the dollars that are earned. So ROI is absolutely a financial number, but don't be afraid, okay? I'm not just talking about the sales that come out of all the things you do in marketing. I'm not saying that that's the only place you can attribute it to. What I am saying is that you can calculate ROI in dollars and cents. And that's what we're gonna talk about today, that it's not just look at our share of voice, look at how many followers we have, or the engagement that that campaign created. Marketing is much more than that, and ROI is much more than just direct sales. ROI comes from all those places we just talked about. ROI comes from impressions and form submissions and calls that you've received. It comes from sales. It comes from upselling and cross-selling your customers. It comes from lots of places. But all of those things are metrics and not an ROI number. They're metrics that serve the purpose of telling you what the ROI of your campaigns does. So, up on the screen, you're gonna see a nice giant funnel. So whether you subscribe to flywheels or funnels or anything in between, we are talking about the exact same thing. We're talking about a customer buying journey. We're talking about how does someone go from discovering who you are, to buying from you, to becoming the raving fan, your tribe, your people, your partners, the ones you can rely on, to always say a good word and send something your way. Marketing is in a very unique space. We're all marketers, right, and related to that field. What you do affects every single stage of a customer's buying journey. When you think about the things that happen in traditional marketing, digital marketing, vacuum salesman door to door, right? Everything that you do affects all 7 stages. So the 7 stages that we use at Atomic Revenue for ourselves, for our clients, and what we preach, these 7 stages on the screen, which I'll read out for you. Awareness. I've figured out that there is someone like you that exists in the universe. I'm aware of you. I know your name. Inquiry. Inquiry that says, I know of you, and now tell me a little bit more. Who are you? What can you do for me? Conversion. That's the first sale of I traded my customer dollars for whatever it is that you're going to provide to me. Satisfaction, where now operations, the product has been delivered. I'm delivering on the promises made to me by the marketing team, by the sales team that I engaged with, by everything I read about you. Retention, I'm going to stay a customer. I'm going to stay subscribed. I'm going to keep coming back to your store, and you are now my person for these shoes because they're my favorite one, and I'll keep purchasing and coming back and more for more. Expansion, I'm going to buy things related to what I bought the first time. The upsell, the cross-sell. I come to you for shoes, and I'm going to come to you for socks. I'm going to come to you for pants. I'm going to come to you for the next thing. And then finally, advocacy. These are the people, those raving fans. I'm gonna send you referrals. I'm gonna tell all my friends they have to go shop at your place. I'm gonna tell all my friends that you're the person for SEO services. So these are our 7 stages: awareness, inquiry, conversion, satisfaction, retention, expansion, and advocacy. So marketing affects absolutely everything in that funnel. So on your screen is this big worksheet, and we're gonna go through part of this today. And if you want a copy of this, I have this as a fillable PDF. Come grab a business card, I'll email it to you. I'm happy to send it to you. And this is what we use every single time we're trying to calculate the ROI. I'm looking for all of the metrics I need to calculate it. I have to have all the information to be able to answer the question, what's the ROI of that campaign? What's the ROI of social media? What's the ROI of rebuilding our website? So I need to know what happened at every stage, what tactics were taken. I need to know how much money was spent at every stage. And I have to track metrics to know that if I'm on track or off track. I'd have to know that the quality is there, so I need quality-focused metrics, just as much as I need our profit-focused metrics. They're gonna give me that revenue ROI number that I'm looking for. So the first bucket there is the marketing tactics. So if I calculate the ROI, I have to know what I did at every single one of those 7 stages. So on the screen, right, it's harder to read if you're way in the back, which lends to there's a lot of open tables in the front. Just scoot yourself forward, right? There are 7 stages, and there are things that can go in all those buckets. You need to start assigning the things that you do to the 7 stages. So if I do community management, where does community management fall in my buyer journey? If you think about community management, that can go a lot of different ways depending on what you do. Do you manage a Facebook community for tech support for your customers? And that's what the marketing department has been tasked with, or your outsourced freelancer. So they're not doing anything in generating awareness. They're not doing anything in new inquiries. What they're doing is solving satisfaction for your current customers with the potential of keeping them a happy customer, so that now goes into expansion, and the upside of potentially upselling a new product or related services. So community management winds up in satisfaction, expansion, and retention. So you paying for a community manager has nothing to do with generating new leads. It has nothing to do with generating new revenue dollars. It's all about keeping a customer. Same thing, think about all the tactics that are being done by your marketing team, by you as a solopreneur, by anybody who's doing marketing for your firm, your agency, for your company. And start thinking about where they're spending their time and what stage of the customer buying journey that is affecting. Social media could be awareness, but it could also be about advocacy, because I'm engaging with current customers, I'm sharing content from partners, I am sharing in their wins, I'm getting referrals from that dark social element of the local Facebook group recommendations. That social media work I'm doing now falls into advocacy. It has nothing to do with satisfaction, perhaps, depending on how you're engaging, who you're engaging with, what stage of the buyer journey that they are in. So, taking that look at that funnel, writing down, what do you do, and where does it affect every customer along the way, from beginning to end, awareness to advocacy. Is there ROI that comes from awareness that you can attribute? Absolutely not. You don't make any money in awareness. There's no dollars that come to you in awareness. So there is no ROI financial number in awareness. Does anything go in your bank account when someone fills out a form on your website? No, you don't make any money when someone says, tell me more. Do you make any money when you deliver on the products and you satisfy your customers? No, you made the money in conversion. So there's no money made in satisfaction. You could lose some money in satisfaction with refunds if you didn't deliver on the promises. So those 3 places, there is no more money made. So there's not an ROI, a financial number, ROI, in awareness, inquiry, or in satisfaction. ROI in marketing comes from these 4 stages: conversion, the first sale, expansion, retention, and advocacy. Those are the 4 places in a customer buying journey that you actually make money, that money goes into your account, that pays for the marketing campaign, that pays for your staff, that pays for benefits and all of those things. So, Now I have to take those things into consideration and calculate the ROI of those 4 buckets of the customer buying journey. That's what these are, which is hard for you to read in the back of the room. I know, don't worry, I'm gonna read it out. I'm gonna calculate the ROI. The ROI of a conversion of that first sale is your total sales revenue. All the first sales that you've achieved. We know that much, but then we have to take into account how much money we spent. And I have to take into account what I spent in awareness, and what I spent in inquiry, and what I spent for the conversion of that sale. That's how much budget will be attributed to the ROI of conversion. All the money that you spent in awareness, inquiry, and conversion divided by your total sales revenue. If your marketing department, I've seen this 100 times before, and previously when I used to own my own marketing agency, get hired by a company, I got a $5,000 budget, but I want you to, right, manage my tech support group on Facebook, community management. I want you to post on social media. I want you to run email campaigns to my current customer base. I want you to run email campaigns to new prospects, and I want to do all these different things. My time is not spent all in generating brand new leads, new awareness, and in getting an inquiry, and in closing a new deal. My time and the budget is being spent in the bottom half of that funnel. So I can't take that budget. It's not a tit for tat. It's not, I spent $5,000 and I got $5,000. My ROI is, I broke even. That doesn't work that way. Your money, maybe only $2,000 of that spend was actually focused on the customer buying journey stages that generate a new lead and a new sale. So you have to attribute the budget where it belongs. So maybe $2,000, so it's $2,000 to $5,000. That's a much better ROI, and not just about reimagining the numbers, that's exactly what happened. The money that I actually spent to generate new customers was $2,000, and I got $5,000 in new sales. That's a realistic number. So when we look at the ROI of expansion, same thing. I have to figure out what part of my funnel affects expansion. So total revenue from my repeat customers. But then how much money did I spend in satisfaction, in keeping them happy, and how much money did I spend in expansion to get them the upsell and cross-sell campaigns, the redirected traffic and retargeting efforts of my current customers that I segmented out. The money that I spent there affects how much revenue did I get from repeat customers. Same ROI of retention. This is the only one where you need a metric other than what we've just talked about on that sheet. The only number you need to know outside of the sheet we just talked about is the lifetime value of your customer, because that's what's affected in retention. The lifetime value. So if I know that the lifetime value of my customers is $100,000, now I'm gonna start a new initiative. I'm gonna spend $100,000 and we're gonna do this massive spend, and it's all gonna be about, driving, to keep my customers, to get them to upsell, cross-sell, right? To get them to keep buying from me, to get them to keep coming back, to stay subscribed, to keep their SaaS, subscription to my product. I need to know what it was before. What was my initial lifetime value of the customer, and then measure it at the end of this campaign that I want to track the ROI of, and know now my lifetime value is $125,000 per customer versus $100,000. Then divided by the cost of satisfaction, keeping them happy, and the retention dollars that you've spent. Then finally, the ROI of advocacy. This is the fourth bucket where you actually make some money, right? That's the total sales that came from referrals. This is the only one that we're gonna segment out, where I wanna know the lead source is from a partner program, affiliate sales, it's from a speaker on stage talking about my product, and I can attribute it back to that moment. And then divided by the cost of satisfaction and advocacy. You have to divide where your budget goes based on what you actually did, of where you affected your customer in the buying journey. Taking all of your dollars and saying, well, I spent $3,000 with you and I only made $6, so it was good, but it wasn't enough. But when all of your budget was spent on just maintaining the online portal for your customers, I'd be pretty happy about that, right? That's a good ROI because of where I spent my money and what I actually did with that time. There's a couple things you have to be able to do if we're going to be able to track the ROI, if we're gonna keep track of our profit metrics and our quality focus metrics. Data. You need the information to do all these things. And doing it on a worksheet for the first time, that can be tedious. You're not gonna do that every single time. You're not gonna be able to sit here and it's not gonna do the calculation for you. That's a fill-it-in worksheet, PDF. So we need to use one, reliable sources. Pick your single source of truth of where am I gonna get it from? Google Analytics, my company's CRM system, your HubSpot, your Salesforce. We're gonna determine how often I'm gonna review that data. Is this based on a campaign that we're gonna run for 6 months? Is this just the general, how much money we spend on marketing in our company every year, and then we're gonna review it annually and look for the ROI? We're gonna update it regularly. Everybody does this a little bit differently, right? Some of us started on Excel sheets, which I know I did 10 years ago. Everything was done in Excel, because that's all that I could afford to do, and that was all the time and knowledge that I had. Now, there's tons of managed dashboard solutions out there. There's Tableau, there's Domo, there's Aviz. There's a lot of options where it could be calculating this for you in real time, and you never have to do another math equation in your life. But us left-brain marketers, we actually kind of enjoy that. So we're gonna update it regularly, and we're gonna get everyone on board with keeping the data clean. Because if you remember that whole buyer journey, marketing traditionally gets stuck in, well, you have the website, you have social, and you're gonna do the billboards, and that's what you're responsible for. You know the budget, you know the numbers for that. The person who holds the keys to the kingdom and knows how much money did we make, and all the tracking data could be shoved off in maybe a revenue operations department. It could be the CFO holds all that data, the owner holds all that data. You will never be able to calculate the ROI by yourself, unless you are a solopreneur, you have access to all the data, or you're the owner. There's no way. You have to get everyone on board with, I want to prove what I can do in marketing. I want to prove the worth of what we're doing. I want to keep this person as a customer. I want to get more budget for my marketing department. You're going to have to get them all on board. This is why I want this. I need you to tell me, how many sales did we generate? I need to know how many new deals were closed as a result of referrals from partners. Everyone has to be on board with giving you the data and keeping it clean. Because one social media manager, also the website editor and doing 9,000 other things cannot do this by themselves. They have to have access to that data. So let's recap. We're gonna write down the tactics that affect every stage of that customer buying journey, all 7 stages. What do you do that affects the customer at each of those 7 points? Then we're gonna write down the costs associated with those 7 stages. If SEO winds up in 6 stages of the 7, I'm gonna divide my budget. How you divide your budget is up to you. Some people will go, we'll just divide it equally. They all get a sixth of the budget. Others will know that, well, I spend most of my time in the awareness bucket. I'll attribute. This is where it gets subjective to you, right? 75% of it I'm gonna drop in the awareness bucket, and 25% of that budget I'm gonna drop in the other one. So you decide where it goes. We're gonna assign quality and profit-focused metrics at each stage so that we know what's going on. So I know that I'm providing quality work, I'm doing the right thing, I'm on the right track, I'm headed toward those right signs, my key performance metrics, my key performance indicators. I'm gonna collect all my data and I'm gonna fill it out, whether it's in a spreadsheet in Google Sheets or in a managed dashboard solution like Aviz. I'm going to write it down, and then I'm gonna calculate the ROI because I have the metrics and I have the formulas. I'm gonna put those into the system and I'm gonna let it kick it out and tell me, how much did I spend? How much did we earn in that category? What was the ROI? Exactly that way. Thank you very much for your attention. I was honored to be the first speaker up here. I would love to chat with you about ROI for your company, because everyone is a unicorn. No issues with that. My 8-year-old would agree. Everyone is a unicorn if they want to be. So there's a link there. Bitly, remember, is case sensitive. So you can book a time to chat with me for 20, 25 minutes, and we'll just talk about it. Tell me what you want. I'll give you the worksheet, or if you don't want to talk to me at all, you just email me, steph@atomicrevenue.com. Thanks for the chat. Send me the worksheet. Done. And I'll send it to you. I'm happy to do that. So you can come check us out at atomicrevenue.com, shoot me an email, book some time, and let's talk about ROI for your marketing campaigns. And fun fact, I will say that we use this exact model in everything inside our company. I filled out one of these sheets before I came to MARsum. How much did it cost me for the hotel? How much did it cost me to attend in the flight? How much is it going to cost me for food? How much time am I going to spend there? The opportunity cost of me not being at work. And so I could be here. How much money is spent? And then over time, I'm going to calculate. What was the ROI of that? How much money did I spend for this event, calculated in those 7 stages, and how much will come out of it in the end? Either nothing, something, break even, right? Either way, it just feels good to be back in person after 2 months away. So we use this in everything in our company. Every single client goes through this, everything that we do, from marketing to the sales group to measure what they're doing and what tools, what their MarTech stack is, what events are going on. Anything that we do, we apply this exact same model because it's absolutely attributable. It's the same for every industry. It's the same for any size company, whether you're a solopreneur or a Fortune 50. This is the exact same process. Thank you so much for your time today. If you have any questions, you can, there was a mic in the center. Do we still have time for questions? Yay, okay. Does anybody have any questions? I don't. You guys are so easy on me. I love it. All right, well, I think we're done. If you do have questions or you want to talk to me one-on-one about your situation, I will be here. Just come find me. Thanks, guys.